Good day, Facebook. This is Stephen and Tina with Repurposing. Hello, Tina.
Hello, Stephen. You sound like you've got the cold. Did I pass it to you?
I think so. Yes. Yeah. I'm not going to say it's man flu, but it could be. It could be. It's a potential candidate, but no, it's just a cold. So apologies to everybody for that. If you can't understand what I'm saying, then I'll pass it over to Tina. And yeah. But in today's show, what we're looking to do, and welcome to the show, first of all, is the first thing I'm going to do is to share things out and check that we are live. And we are live.
Yeah, I actually got the notification this time that we were going live.
Oh, well, that bit worked.
Yeah, that's it did good. This time. I think this is the first time ever that I've actually seen it pop up for me. So, yeah, just a step in the right direction. But yeah, I'll let, after Stephen finishes sharing out, as we were speaking before the show, he was telling me about...
I'll be back in a second.
He was telling me about his experience recently with scheduling the show and how there was crickets when he went live. So we'll talk about that just a little bit before we get into the show today. But we are still, it's holding true from what we said before. When you schedule it, this is not as effective as just going live.
Well, we know it. I know it. I scheduled 3 shows last week, last Friday in actual fact. I'm still apologizing to Brigetti because in the first 14, 15 minutes, we had 8 views, not viewers, views. Mm-hmm. So we're not scheduling anymore. We've given up on that one. A good idea though it is. And each show just starts. I mean, it means we can start early or we can start late. We don't have any problems on that score. And you should now be seeing me, all things being equal, on my profile. So you can see me on my profile.
So I'm going to share on Be Livers and on my profile as well.
Okay. Whilst Tina's doing that, we just want to tell you that we're grateful to you all. For everybody who's on the BeLive.tv or Be Live in 5 course. We now have over 2,000 students and more people joining every day. And it's just so brilliant to see everybody getting involved in BeLive.tv. There are no alternatives to BeLive.tv. It's the only place you should be using to broadcast a Facebook Live, as I was saying to my friend Dan earlier today. Now, Dan is, he and I did a show last year called Roadshot.tv, and he is about to do a crowdfunding allied to a thundercloud.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think I'm resting time. And I'm going to be involved in that, and that will be BeLive.tv, and he's going to do all his broadcasting on BeLive.tv as well. So looking forward to that. I mean, I've looked at 2 of the systems, well, one of the system in the last 24 hours, and BeLive still rocks.
Yeah, we're seeing, well, it's constantly growing. Not only is our course growing, but the BeLivers group and BeLive TV users, as it continues to grow, it's exciting to see the different types of shows that are popping up. We're starting to see a lot more variety now than we were in the beginning, and that's exciting. Problem is, don't have enough time to watch them all.
That's true. I mean, that's true. I mean, part of being involved in networking on live TV is to watch other people's shows, but you can only watch one show at a time and give it your attention. And there are so many shows going on. So we can pick and choose. It's like having 1,000 TV channels that you can just flick through and you find one that catches your interest. All of which goes to, if you are going to do the show, then you should actually tell people what you're talking about. So this is Repurposing with Tina and Stephen.
Awesome segue.
and to the person who's watching us, welcome to the show. If you want to say who you are, we will feature you on screen. The only thing I've missed out, actually, is to actually put the link to join us on screen, because you can't do that until afterwards. So I'll do that in a moment.
Do you want me to do that?
Oh, surely, yeah.
Yeah.
No, brilliant.
I have the link in front of me, so.
Excellent. As you can tell, we're just getting going, literally. I'm fueled by coffee. I think Tina is too.
Always. I'm actually drinking tea right now.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I'm shocked. No, I'm not.
Well, I have this sore, scratchy throat, so I've got tea and lemon.
Ah, right.
I did have coffee earlier.
Bit of honey in there as well?
No, I don't have any. I need to get some.
Right. Okay.
Okay, I'm trying to get the link to paste here, and then
right. Okay. Hello to everybody who's watching us. We're taking it slow this week. We're repurposing ourselves, and we're looking for ideas. We want your ideas. And now that Tina's posted the link, if you want to join us on camera today, and you want to talk about how you repurpose, then just click the link that Tina has just posted.
You shortened that to clink.
Which has a totally different meaning. At least in the UK, clink is jail.
Oh, really?
which wasn't the intention at all. While we're here, we're not going to take every opportunity to do this. If you are watching, we have a new Twitter account, and if you want a call to action, then please follow us on Twitter. We have a new Twitter account. On the show that Tina and I do on Thursdays, which is Grow Your Live Tribe, we are effectively now growing our own live tribe, which means that we're starting our own Twitter account and YouTube accounts from scratch. And, well, it's an eye-opener, isn't it?
Definitely.
Because back in the day when we started on Twitter, it was, if you follow me, I'll follow you. And that worked. So if you followed 1,000 people, you had 1,000 people following you. And then over the years, it totally slipped to 1 in 2 people would follow you back. And now it's between 1 in 4 and 1 in 5.
Yeah, definitely. People are becoming more selective, and it's just because there's so many now. I mean, back when Twitter first started up, you weren't so inundated with media all of the time. So now we are definitely, I think all of us are becoming more selective in who we follow.
True, but I'm up to this. I've been following people that we know. Mm-hmm. Still getting the same result. So it's interesting anyway. It's more hard work.
Well, you wonder if they've seen it yet.
Well, that's a possibility.
Yeah, because I haven't been on Twitter yet.
So right.
If you followed me, I haven't followed you back yet.
So, yeah, I think it's true. People spend more time on Facebook than they do on Twitter. Mm-hmm. I mean, Twitter is the go-to for news. I mean, during Hurricane Irma, it was a place to get updates from people who are actually live on the ground, and it's an amazing way of doing that. And I'm just glad that everybody's come through over the weekend.
Well, before we get started on our topic, which is repurposing, as always, on Tuesday, I just want to say that this month is Suicide Prevention Month and also National Addiction Recovery Month. And on that note, I wanted to just give a shout out to one of our friends, Lou, who has the Sunshine Effect. Just look for that on Facebook, and I'll put a link in the comments so that you can find that. Follow him. He and a lot of his colleagues that he's met through doing Be Live. They do some wonderful things for both suicide prevention and for addiction recovery. And so since we know this month is all about awareness, I just thought I would give them a shout out and tell people to check them out. They do some wonderful things there.
Indeed. I mean, there's some great people broadcasting, and I agree. If we can support them, we should do so.
Did you know we have some crazy people on Be Live too? Because we had people broadcasting in the middle of the storms. And as much as I love your lives, I'm just thinking, go in the house.
There's a time not to be live, isn't there?
That's right.
And if ever there was one, then that's it. I mean, watching the news. I mean, the news reporters who had to go out there, risking life and limb. I'd send robots if it was me. I wouldn't send real people out there because
all I could think is I hope they have really good insurance through the company they work for.
Oh yeah.
If anything happens to them, their families are taken care of. Because that's it takes a certain type of person to be willing to do that, and we certainly have some of our storm chasers and stuff that are thrill seekers, and they enjoy that. But I would have been in the basement somewhere.
I think I would as well. To be out in those weathers, not good at all.
But maybe they got some great content they can repurpose.
Oh, they did probably. Yes. I mean, one of the greatest storms to hit Florida, which people will remember for years. I mean, I'm happy that everybody's safe. That's it, I mean, that's sort of amazing that so many people actually had to move out and are now waiting the go ahead to move back. But I think that, in terms of organisation, moving millions of people.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as somebody said, if you watch the disaster movies, and the president says, we've got to move those 6 million people. We can't do that, sir. Well, you can. It's been proved. You can move 6 million people.
Yeah, and even though in some ways it wasn't as catastrophic as they thought that it was going to be in terms of damage in some areas in Florida, I think the evacuation is the reason we haven't seen a very high death toll in the U.S. and Florida. It's because of the steps that they took. And I mean, the storm was just massive. The size alone, was a record breaker in the size of the storm. And it's still churning around here in Tennessee now. We're just getting rain and a little bit of wind, but it's going to be around for a little bit longer. It was still a tropical storm when it was up in Atlanta, Georgia. And Atlanta, Georgia has certainly never had a tropical storm warning before. So it was really a remarkable something I think that will be studied for years to come.
I agree, and it's sort of global warming. I mean, the people in the West Indies were saying that they used to get category 1 and 2 hurricanes, but they're now consistently getting 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
And if that's not a change in environment, or doesn't denote a change in the environment, right? Okay. Now you may be wondering why we're here. This is Repurposing with Tina and Stephen. And Tina, would you like to start us off this week, and then we'll go off at tangents all over the place?
Oh, well, we've already done that, so we can get to business now. I don't know, Stephen, you have the agenda in front of you, and I don't, so you got me at a disadvantage. Where we're beginning.
I'm supposed to have an agenda. I didn't repurpose the agenda.
You didn't repurpose? Oh, it's fine. It's fine. Let me just go back to the notes that I sent you, and we'll go from there. So basically, what we're going to talk about is evergreen content, popular content, and updating content. And so evergreen content, as you know, is content that you write that is evergreen. It's forever. So it's not seasonal, or it's not something that has hard data in it that can change. It's just something that you can use all the time. And then popular content, if you're using Facebook, which is primarily what we're talking about, so I'll stick with that. But just use your insights, and you can do this on Twitter and other platforms too, but Facebook specifically, look at your Facebook insights and take some digging. Facebook doesn't make it easy for you to look through your content, your old content to see what performed well, but you're going to go and dig through your content and see which posts perform the best. And then you'll repurpose those. And not necessarily, you can just repurpose it as is, but we'll give you some ideas for different ways that you can repurpose it and make it stretch even further. And then updating content is taking that content that wasn't evergreen. So maybe you did an article that performed really well that had, statistics on, I don't know, whatever the statistics were, and you did the article 2 years ago, then you probably need to update the stats and whatever's changed. And if you're working in Facebook and you wrote something 2 years ago, stuff has changed, but you can still use the foundation of that piece of content and just add to it to make it fresh.
Indeed, and that's the truth, because once you've created content, it is the source of creating even more content. I'll come back on screen as I'm talking. Strangely, April, if you're watching, I know you are, we just had I've had a notification that you made a comment and I can't see it. So this is getting curious again.
I will go. Let me go to the page and see if I can see what she
Right.
said.
Okay. Right. To everybody who's watching us, this is repurposing. What we're talking about is taking your Facebook Live videos and using them as a basis of content in other places. And we'd welcome your thoughts on this today. If you want to join us live on air, you'll find the link in the post, either up above or down below. And you're more than welcome to join us as we.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any comments. So let's see.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
This is crazy.
Yeah, it's frustrating when we know that comments have been made and then we can't see them. And either we've had instances where they've taken a moment, there's been a delay for them showing up for us on the back end of Be Live, but it's not even showing on the actual post itself. So I'm not sure what happened there. So April, if you said something, say it again.
Oh yes, please. We're not talking about repurposing. We're talking about original content here, and I seems to have disappeared. Right. Okay. Well, and April must have posted somewhere. It's not in Belivers, and it's not. Just a minute.
Hi, Mischelle. We see Michelle's comment.
Can you see Michelle's comment?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. Okay. Mischelle, hello. If you want to join us on air, the link is up above or down below.
Mischelle and April both are watching us from work, which we appreciate.
Well, yeah, we appreciate totally. And they are. We can see Michelle's there. I can actually feature a comment. So we've repurposed your comment, Mischelle, and it's now appearing on the screen and will appear in the recording too. And thank you for confirming that this is working. We do have our doubts at times, but we've been going over the requisite quarter of an hour, so you should be able to see us now.
Hopefully everybody can see us.
Well, otherwise we're just talking to ourselves, which is good fun, but the whole purpose is to actually get our message out there about repurposing.
We mentioned different types of content, and then Stephen mentioned that we talk primarily about repurposing your live content because that's what live really is your best bet for any type of content in terms of reach and engagement. But you can repurpose any type of content. So even just when you do a tweet or a status update on Facebook and it's just text, if for some reason something you said just really resonated with people and you got lots of interaction and people commented and engaged with you, you can repurpose that. I mean, just, throw an image that makes sense behind it and pull the quote out and put it on there and repurpose it out to other channels, or repurpose it again and get the conversation started with, by adding additional information. So you can pretty much repurpose anything that you've done. If it performed well, and sometimes just because something didn't perform well, if you think it's a really valuable piece of content, and I mean, we all think our content's valuable. We love what we do, or we wouldn't be spending the time to do it. But if you did something that should have performed well and it didn't, don't just throw that piece away. Look at it again. Think of maybe a catchier title. Look for opportunities to kind of piggyback on current events that are happening if it makes sense to tie it in. But don't just throw that away and think it's not any good. It could have been just the time that you posted it that it didn't do well. So while you want to make sure that you repurpose the things that do really well and kind of get the most that you can out of them, just because something didn't perform well once doesn't mean that it's not good content. Just look at it with fresh eyes and maybe do it on a different platform. So if it was news related and it didn't do well on Facebook, repurpose it over to Twitter because it may pick up traction there where it didn't on Facebook.
That's true. Insofar as you can go back through your back catalogue, especially with blog posts.
And especially if you're as organized as Stephen.
Not necessarily so. I've just got WordPress has a great search engine. So if you want to post on a topic, you can go back to one of your old blog posts. And as Tina's just said, you can rejig it, give it a new title, spruce it up, give it a new picture, link it to a video, and republish it. So the work that you've done in the past is still valid. Okay.
Well, especially with live, because everything that you did in the past that you did in a blogging platform before live became a viable platform, you can now go back and repurpose that into live videos. So definitely look at your back catalog of information. And with holidays coming up, a lot of the holiday things that you do, you'll be able to repurpose year after year.
That's true. I mean, especially Halloween, Christmas, Thanksgiving, all of those days, you can take content that you've done before and repurpose it and add to it, as Tina said, add a video. Now, Robert, if you want to join us on camera, you're more than welcome to do so. I'm going to post the link again, although we did copy it earlier.
I don't know if I pinned it. I think I did.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm curious. There was a question in Belivers about how you share the link, and I said one of the things you can do is post it in the comments on the production screen that we've got, and people are saying that's not clickable. So if you want to click that link, then please do. Now, we're getting busier, which is good, and you're watching Stephen and Tina, and hopefully Robert in a moment, if he can get ready and join us. But there is something we would like to, I was speaking to David Vaughan earlier, and that is launching this week on a mobile near you, a new video system. Okay, the system is called Pop-In, and you know how things go viral if they're done correctly. Well, I think this is the first time that anybody's actually posted the link to Pop-In. So thank you, David Vaughan, for mentioning it, and I'm getting the word out. Basically, it looks like it's repurposing content because it is actually a mobile app based around topics. So,
Good morning, Carlos.
Morning, Carlos. So, Pop-In to Pop-In, that's good naming, isn't it? I mean,
Yes.
you've actually got the website as well. Now, if you look closely, and when you get an email saying that you've actually arrived, you'll see that the email comes from Alex. Right. Pop-In is, they've got a tagline, as we're digressing. They've got a tagline, which is this. Oh, it's not working. How can we want to copy from the screen? I'm just going to try once more. All right, I've got it. Okay, Pop-In is a new application due for release later this week. Instantly gather live around the topics that it matter to you most to you. I better get the tagline right. And it is launching. Now is the time to sign up, get ahead of the queue. And when you get your email, you'll find that it's been signed by Alex. And if you remember Alex is at Smile Time. So this is obviously part of Smile Time's new strategy, because they've been down for a week. They're coming back as Pop-In. So that's not strictly repurposing, but it is straight from David Vaughan this afternoon, and you can sign up for that.
Well, if they have figured out a way to make it easy for people to find the topics that interest them and to get live notifications from those topics, then that's going to be very valuable to people. That's been one of the big headaches for all of us is just being able to shift through all of the, all of the noise to find what is interesting to us.
Well, that's it. If they have done that, and I mean, given what they did with Small Time, I'm sure they're more than capable of doing it. Pop-in looks like it could be an on-the-go app. Sorry. Okay. Right. It is a 4 people on screen on Android and iOS and iPhone talking about topics that interest them. And the topic that they're debating, which might mean something to you, Tina, means nothing to me, is will LeBron stay with the Cavs?
Yeah, no idea.
No, see,
I don't even know what sport that is.
Right, and a bit of clarification from Robert. Pop-in is a mobile app. Okay, so we got there in the end, and now is the time to sign up because very few people know about it. Robert knows about it, and David knows about it. Tina knows about it now.
Well, that's one of the things that, if you are a content creator, if you stay on top of emerging trends, you can get a lot of traction with your content because you're reaching an entirely new audience, by following and hopping on to those. Now, you may not stay with them. I'm not saying invest a ton of your time, but it's certainly worth your effort to test out different technology and platforms as they become available and see what works for you. As much as we love Be Live, it's our platform of choice. It's not everyone's.
Well, true. I don't know why that should be, but
yeah.
I mean, we came from Small Time to Be Live last October, and both Carlos is saying it looks like Small Time. Robert's saying it is the same people from Small Time.
Yeah.
I said Alex is involved, which is good to hear. And this is always the problem. We're talking about a new app. It'd be the same people on the new app as were on the old app. But they're trying to reach a different audience. I mean, we're spending more and more time on our mobiles. Okay, and just to bring back memories for some, Blab, Alfredo is saying that Bebo is still around. Looks like they're focusing on Twitch streamers. Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the interesting things about hopping on board and being one of the, the early adopters is you get to see the evolution of these products. And so, Blab, I never jumped on Blab, but it's interesting to see that they have evolved toward Twitch, which has been anyway, primarily gaming. It certainly isn't now. There's all sorts of topics being discussed over there. But when I'm not a software developer, so I don't know what goes into this, but I imagine just as with many businesses, what your ideal is in your head doesn't always play out that way. And so you have to be flexible enough to evolve with your product to meet the needs of the people who have adopted your product.
That's true. And also true, I think we all agree on this, is the need to create apps that aren't battery hogs. Because it's all right being on mobile, but I mean, on mobile, you've got a battery, and unless you've got a spare battery pack that you're carrying around with you, you run the risk of running out of power. So yes, I think I certainly agree, Mischelle. Yeah, and Carlos is saying all these apps do the same thing. I think essentially that is they're bringing people together, networking up to 4 people on screen, and it's a technology that Small Time perfected whilst they were doing the Small Time channel. The thing about that was, though, that the Small Time channel, based on WebRTC, I think they had enough of the problems from users.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. No, sorry. Go on.
No, I think although they all do the same thing, but they have different audiences and different people who have adopted those platforms. We have live streaming colleagues who do not prefer the platform that we do. And sometimes I think it depends on which social media outlet is like your favorite or the one that works best for your business. And so, while Be Live is wonderful if your primary focus is Facebook, not so much if your primary focus is Twitter. So you may adopt one of these other live streaming platforms to go live through Twitter.
Well, that's right. I mean, if you want to go on Periscope, you've got a range of choices. I mean, Periscope Producer. I went live on Periscope for the first time since Periscope came out. Because I went live on the day it came out, which we all do. And the time I went live was, and I quite enjoyed myself. Because you don't want to do a half-hour show, you just want to do 10 minutes. And after you've been doing hour-long shows, 10 minutes is nothing really. We can all talk for 10 minutes. So yeah, I mean, it's in terms of content, you can create different content for different audiences, and I'm going to be interested to see what the audience. Well, two things I'm interested in when it comes to pop-in. One, is it on Android? Because that's one of my leading questions. Because if it's not, then it really doesn't exist. And secondly, who's actually going to get involved? I think for an app to succeed, it needs to be iOS and Android. I understand why developers don't go for Android because of all the different flavors, where there's only one, theoretically, only one iOS. But it would be good to see pop-in later this week with these two flavors. That's Android and iOS.
Well, having all of these different platforms just gives you other ways to repurpose your content. So if you've done a half an hour long piece, live on Facebook through BeLive.tv, you can pare that down to 10 minutes and hop over to Periscope and do a live piece over there, just by repurposing the content that you just did. And it's a little bit more difficult because you have to pick out the most important pieces, but you could certainly do, from the top 5 broadcast platforms for live. You could take a little bit of what we've done here and run over there and do something with that. Yep. But there, if you have it in mind when you are creating your content that you're going to repurpose it, you'll pick up on it as you're doing it. Like as you're doing the show, you'll have in your head, oh, I need to remember that I can take this little nugget and go do this with it. So if you already have in your mind that you can repurpose things, it just happens. You don't even have to think about it as much because you know that you're going to reuse that somehow.
Indeed. I love the mute button. Hopefully you didn't hear me then.
Yeah, and I don't have that on my side. I wish they would give it to us because since I've been sick and I start coughing, I can't mute myself. So the only thing I can do is send you a private message over here and say, hey, take me off screen for a moment.
Take me off screen for a moment. Yes.
But I think the number one thing to know for repurposing, really for anything that you're doing, is know who your audience is for each platform. Your audience may not be the same on Twitter as it is on Facebook. And so you're going to want to, tweak your content to fit the audience that you're trying to reach. And so I think that's probably the most important thing that you need to think about when you start to repurpose a piece of content. Who is my audience? Is it different from the audience that I had when I originally created this piece of content?
It's strange how a cold can affect your spelling. I'm having difficulty getting
it affects everything.
Know your audience. Right, okay, a shout out to Carlos. Carlos, I mean, we, as sort of Android person, I forget that today is the day of the big announcements. And Carlos is covering the iPhone announcements today. Carlos, if you want to drop a link in then to the show, then please do so, and we'll post it and repurpose it for you. So if you've got a link to the show, if you have scheduled the show, then please post a link and it'll be there shortly, forever. Now, yeah, in terms of repurposing and different platforms, just to note that at 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, I'm going live on YouTube with brilliant. Okay, so there you have the link to Carlos's show. And Carlos, one thing missing, I just need the time. What time are you going live? And wait for Carlos to give us the time. And it's not scheduled. So if you check that link, then you'll find Carlos there covering the announcements from Apple. Now, once a day, the Apple used to be the show of the year. Everybody used to watch out for it and wait for the latest gadget that's going to come from Apple. I think it's still true, but they've been joined in that in about 2 minutes. Then, Carlos, have a great show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
joining
so
us.
if anybody wants to hop out onto that link, we understand, and we'll see you
in
our next show.
When you're done.
Yeah, catch the replays. Yeah, we can repurpose that. Tomorrow I'll be live at 1 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, and we're going to try and break a record. We're going to try and have 8 people on screen at one time, which is going to be taxing on my PC and also in terms of controlling 8 people on screen. So that's at 1 p.m.
What are you using?
We are going live on Lightstream.
Okay.
Okay. I'm for Facebook. BeLive.tv is it, and Go Lightstream or Lightstream is the one for YouTube. There is another system kicking around at the moment. Have you heard about it?
I don't know. Maybe.
All right. Okay. We're not. Okay.
I've got like a list of things that I have to try and test. I haven't even got to play with Livestream yet. I've got Webinar Jam on my list of things to test out. So
why Lightstream? Well, there are 2 reasons. Lightstream to YouTube works perfectly. And I'll say that from a Lightstream to YouTube works perfectly. It does everything you want to do. And the other factor here is, Carlos, I have a Udemy course about how to use Lightstream. So it's also promotion as well. So promotion of my courses. So that's why. And Carlos is mentioning the new one, which is VideoPress. If you search VideoPress on Facebook, you'll find a new Facebook group led by VideoPress community manager Leland Best, and you can go and try out this new piece of software. It's a 14-day free trial, and it goes to Facebook, YouTube, and anything that will accept RTMP. So that's to look at, and I'm happy for Leland that he's actually right. And Vincent, thank you, Vincent. Vincent signed up for the Udemy course for BeLive.tv, which is brilliant. And now would be a good time to say that I have a course about Lightstream as well. Right, okay.
Well, trying to figure out what platform to use, it not only depends on which social media channel that you prefer, whether that's YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. It also depends on what you're trying to accomplish. One of the reasons I'm testing other pieces of software right now is because we are looking at doing corporate training through a Facebook private group. And so we're just trying to figure out, which platform makes the most sense for us. BeLive is great, but there are some limitations for some of the things that we want to do. And it would also require that every one of our trainers purchase BeLive. Where if I use something like Webinar Jam, then, we have one login for our organization, and you can just use that to log in. But because of the way that BeLive.tv logs you in, which is through your personal Facebook page, we can't really share it that way. So, it just depends on what your goals are, what you're trying to achieve, and also where you're trying to go live to.
Indeed, it does, and there are so many options. I know that you're looking into Webinar Jam, and we know people who are right. And Mischelle is saying she's using Webinar Ninja, which sounds brilliant. Yeah, the webinar software is a different approach, isn't it?
Yeah, and most, a lot of webinar software doesn't allow you to go live to Facebook. So that's one piece of the puzzle, because we want to do our training we want to do it live through our Facebook group, which is a private group for the organization. But, so it has to be able to go live to Facebook. Has to be affordable because we're a small organization. Some of the webinar software is like outrageously expensive.
Yep. Huge.
So, and there's a reason for that. They were designed for large organizations who can afford to invest in that type of thing. But if you're a small business owner, then that is certainly out of your reach.
And you've got to bear cost in mind. I mean, that's why it's good that Be Live have gone the commercial route, because then we know that they are serious about this and they're going to make some money out of it, and we'll all be happy when they do. Whereas the systems are free, and
they can just disappear overnight, which is what happens a lot of times when they don't monetize their product.
Yep.
Hi, Carinder.
It is indeed, Corinda. Long time no see. Welcome back. It's good genuinely good to see you.
Yeah, and we've been gone too, so we just came back.
Indeed, we took 3 weeks off, and we're slowly getting back into things, and things are moving forward. One thing that I need to bring you up to speed on, Corinda, is that Smile Time went off air. All right, sorry, Corinda's saying hello, Tina. So that's hello from Tina. Corinda, Smile Time went off air last Thursday. The site is unreachable. They are revamping the site, and there is an application which they're just launching. I'm just trying to find the link, but it's actually called Pop In, and you can sign up today, and that's the new app from Smile Time. It's called Pop In, and you can actually sign up today and get access to it as one of the users. So interesting to see what happens there. But it is good to see you back, Corinda, and look forward to watching your shows wherever they may be, because we don't know what's going to happen when Smile Time does come back totally. I did speak to Smile Time earlier today, and I can quote, just let me find it. They said, I asked them, how is the update progressing? And the reply was, it's a big one. Hope to get it out within the next day or two. So it's a big update, and it's due out in the next day or two. No, SDS, DSD. Well, yeah, you're welcome to join us on air, David, if you want. We're just busking into them.
Yeah, I think our show today, we'll have to repurpose it as a show all about live streaming platforms. We've gone completely off topic and have been focusing on.
Yeah,
but there's just a lot happening right now, with these platforms, because just as we expected, and those of you who've been live streaming even longer than I have, when Facebook announced Facebook Live as being accessible to everyone, we knew that it was going to be huge, and it is. I mean, more and more people are adopting it. More and more businesses are hopping on board. David, hello.
Hello, David. How long
are you multi-slacking today?
Every day. Had a sign made.
Yeah, I know. I saw it.
Welcome.
So, are you two actually going to talk about repurposing, or I mean,
no, it's not going to happen. I put my hand up and say I've got a month. Yeah, not totally with it today. I think that's the phrase I'm looking for. Okay, and Robert's saying this is going downhill fast. I don't agree. David always picks up the pace as he joins us, and Corinda's still got his Smile Time T-shirt. That could well become a collectible item, Corinda. I wouldn't get rid of that yet.
I still have mine. It's too big.
Oh wow!
But it is what it is.
Right,
a reminder of the good old days.
The good old days of Blab Smile Time. Meerkat. Buster.
I'm back on Periscope now.
It's like there's a graveyard specifically for live streaming platforms.
Yeah, it's right next to, you know, the 8-track tapes and the CDs.
I still have an 8-track player.
VHS cassettes.
It's the best sounding Leonard Skinner I have. Sorry, I got caught up. I just normally that would roll off much easier.
Right. A question from Corinda, who has been away for a little while, and he's asking, what is Facebook Watch? Well, we're in the UK, Corinda. We won't see it for a while yet.
Facebook Watch has nothing on it that I want to watch. Not yet.
So you've actually got the tab, both of you.
It is Facebook's way of trying to continuously keep you inside their platform and feed you ads of irrelevant stuff that you clicked on 30 days ago. It's stupid.
It's almost as useful as the live tab that we have, the live video tab.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to see lots of different things going on in Bangladesh and India,
right,
to the live tab.
When I open Watch right now, the first thing that comes up is virtual dating, which tells me I don't need to see anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that's designed to put everybody off, isn't it? Yes. Yeah.
I'm going to step away for a second.
Okay, David. Is there discoverability on the app? Can you search?
Let me see. I haven't really clicked around in here more. You can click see all. There's a today spotlight and new this week, and then a popular now, what friends are watching, most talked about. In case you missed it, 10 minutes or more suggested for you. So no, I don't see a way to search. I just get to see all of the stuff that they think I might want to see.
So they're deciding the content for you. Right. Okay. So, Corinda, we're well out of this. We don't have it in the UK yet. It's an extra tab on Facebook, which allows you to watch live video 24/7, if you so wish, but you've no say in what you're going to be watching other than fighting your way through all the dross that Facebook is suggesting. So I think we're well out of that one. And just back to t-shirts for a moment. I've got my collection of t-shirts does include a Blab t-shirt, and it also includes several others which have gone. But Robert's saying he's got the record in that he's got Meerkat, Meavy, wow, Blab and Catch. If you have a new live stream app, send me a t-shirt. If you don't want your live streaming to stop,
if you want your app to fail, send Robert a t-shirt. That's what he's saying. It's interesting on Watch. If I look at the tab that says suggested for you, it has things like braided bun, a do-it-yourself charcoal mask, octopus escapes through a tiny hole, a gender reveal scavenger hunt. And these are all pages that I've never heard of or do not like Cosmopolitan and bestproducts.com. And I don't know any of this stuff. So why it's in the suggested for me tab, I don't know how they're deciding that's what they should suggest to me. It makes no sense. I don't think there is a BeLive t-shirt. We've not seen any swag from BeLive.
We've not seen any swag at all. I mean, we don't want one. Not if Robert's going to get one.
Robert can't have one if they do.
No. That's a no. Robert will not get a BeLive.tv shirt at all, ever.
Or a repurposing shirt.
Indeed.
You can repurpose one of your other shirts and make it a repurposing shirt, but we're not going to send you one.
Yeah. Or a guilt shirt, a Grow Your Life Tribe shirt. We've got all sorts of options now. Okay, and Robert is going to make his own. Right, okay. Good. If you send us the design, then, who knows. But we don't want a t-shirt. We just want to get on with the shows. And hopefully next week we'll be more focused or not. We don't know. Does it matter? Does it matter? The brilliant thing about this is, there's a thing. Now, this week sees Blubbing for Britain show 91. And John's suggesting that we should get some Blubbing for Britain t-shirts. I mean, Blabbing for Britain is the history of live broadcasting in one show. It started on Blab. It then went to Huzzer. It then went to Fire Talk. It then went to Smile Time. And now it's landed on Be Live. So it's the whole history. If you watch our 90 episodes so far, then you've got the whole history of live broadcasting in one lot. But please don't watch our first ever show, because although we're proud of it, it has nothing on the current technology that we're using, because we thought it was good in the Blab days, but it certainly has improved. It used to be like when my boys used to play computer games. I used to say that would be good when it's lifelike, and that was the situation with Blab. It wasn't, when you did watch the replay, you could tell that the technology wasn't there.
Yeah.
Now it is there. I mean, we're getting closer and closer to HD, especially on YouTube. So John, welcome.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense that YouTube is closer to HD than the other platforms, because it originally, it was from the beginning, it's been all about video, and it's been around for quite a while now, over a decade. So it makes sense that they are getting there before the rest of us.
Well, welcome back, David.
Or eating with repurposing.
What are you
Repurposing lunch. That looks delicious. What is it?
Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, spinach, kale, chards, mushrooms. White
that looks good, minus the mushrooms, but otherwise awesome.
Well, today is juicing day in our household as well. So all veggies here today.
That's just taking your food and making liquid.
It's the same food. The same food. Juicing is a big.
It doesn't taste the same.
His vegetables.
Exactly so. Juicing is repurposing vegetables. So thank you, David. We finally got onto the repurposing topic. Even if oh dear.
For the purpose of repurposing, you should have.
I will tell you that a pressure cooker, my Instant Pot, is the best thing to happen to my lunches, or most of my meals, especially when it comes to vegetables, because I can stick stuff in there 1 to 3 minutes, depending on what I'm cooking. So, and let the pressure come down, it's done. I don't have to got a little basket. It's awesome.
You can say, give me a minute, I'll be right back. And then you come back with a delicious meal.
So now that we've talked about Steven's repurposing his
lunch
vegetables.
Yep.
Where do we go from there?
I don't
still
think
be saving on toilet paper.
Okay, slight change of topic. A question from David, from Corinda for David. Are you watching the Apple event? And if not,
it's not on yet. It comes on in 6 minutes.
All right. Okay. Just a note then that if it's on in 6 minutes, then expect to see a show by Carlos Phoenix, which is starting in 6 minutes' time, and the links in the thread. So,
I mean, Carlos is essentially repurposing Apple's content.
That's true. He is.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, and that's okay to jump on trends. When Irma has been trending for a while now, and lots of people have been on talking and giving live reports and different things. And so it's not a bad idea to look at trends in the news and in entertainment and use those to piggyback to grow your audience.
It's true. So I might have misheard that, David. Did you say that actually replaying the Apple event is illegal?
Yep.
Right. Okay. Yes.
Unless he works for Apple, I would imagine that it actually is. I mean, it's available to anybody to watch. It's it probably walks that really fine line.
Yeah. Mind you, I mean, the news came out over the weekend, didn't it? There was a leak.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The GM link that was that some people decided to install, including some friends of mine at one of the news agencies. So, but that's okay. Their devices are actually dedicated for like beta stuff.
Oh, so his live is about guessing what feature the iPhone will have.
See, and that's one of the things is, I mean, especially after this past weekend, there's no guessing anymore. This is one of the things that I hate about the world today and the news that we can get is we've essentially known what the iPhones, there's going to be 3 iPhone editions released this year. We pretty much know the name convention now. We know most of the features and what they're going to have. We know something now that's not even going to be released, but the phones can actually do, all this type of stuff. And it's like, man, I remember when you used to be able to anticipate and watch and surprise.
Well, that's part of it.
But it's a very small area of people that paid that much attention to something that doesn't even exist yet. So
yeah, that's true because I have no idea.
I still went out and bought an iPhone last week.
Wow.
I haven't paid any attention. So whatever Carlos says will be news to me because I haven't watched anything related to the release of the new iPhone. So, yeah.
That's probably who's and again, that's who he's gearing towards, and that's the absolute majority of people. I mean, you're probably talking about 0.1% that are geeky enough to follow along with it. So they're already talking about the iPhone for next year. That's started up a few weeks ago. What features will actually be in the iPhone next year? So
we even know the price.
We roughly know the price. It's been a lot of speculation, especially by the analyst firms that are out there. It's not. Everybody was kind of in shock and awe when they were like, "Well, it's going to be $1,000 plus iPhone." But Samsung just introduced the Galaxy Note 8, and that's a $960 phone, and it's not even by Apple, and it could possibly burn up and blow up in your pocket. So,
that's just added benefit. That's exciting.
I don't care. However you want to approach that. And they threw in a whole bunch of really neat features. It's got a really nice camera to it. So, yeah, we roughly know what the pricing is going to be. I'm more interested in the Apple Watch Series 3 and what they're going to be doing with the LTE possibility of it, because it's a reduced LTE. So it's not even data like what you would use on an iPad type deal. It's supposed to be linking towards a phone. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see.
Yeah, I think most people.
You're actually going to be low, Robert. It's probably going to be, I would say, closer to $1,100, and probably closer to $1,300 for the top end model, like extra RAM and all that type of stuff.
That is where.
So, with all that being said, it is now 1 p.m. Eastern, which is the only time zone that matters anywhere in the world anyway. And the Apple event is starting. So
okay.
I can play it in the background and mute myself out while you two talk, but you've been on an hour not talking about repurposing anyway. So
we've touched on it. We haven't been, we've been adjacent.
Your vegetables don't count. How you're repurposing vegetables into a glass don't count.
Well, the bad thing is we actually had kind of an agenda to talk about, and we just completely blew that today. if you're going to be repurposing content, have a topic and stick to it, and make it much easier for you to repurpose it later.
True. I mean,
that's a waste of time. Don't worry about sticking to a topic. Just go all willy-nilly.
Well, since we were talking about the phones, I think that the most important features on the phone going forward, and even now, everyone, leaving out the geek side, but just average people, everybody is interested in the camera and in being able to live stream and having a decent picture. A lot of people don't even photographers even quit carrying around their DSLR and they're carrying around an iPhone to snap pictures with.
Because it's a better camera. And that's what that was one reason when I got into video years ago. My purpose was, how can I do the exact same thing with my iPhone that I could do with a DSLR? And about the time that the iPhone 5 and then the 5S came out and the cameras got really good and really sharp, it was just as good to sit there and shoot video. There's whole sections in the Apple stores now dedicated to like extra attachments you can add to your phone, like lenses to get deeper and all that type.
Right.
So the event is on. The easiest thing to do, Mischelle, is to go to apple.com, and you should see something on their site right now.
Okay.
And so it begins.
Or I could just sit here and repurpose the video this way, and that's not going to happen. So.
No.
Well,
No.
Robert mentioned battery life, but that goes hand in hand with photos and video. You have to have a decent battery to be able to shoot video and pictures, and you have to have enough space to hold stuff. So I think all that is part of it.
They've increased storage, and that's been great over the years. I think one of the interesting things is, people always look at an iPhone and compare it to any Android phone, and something that an Android phone does and has a feature that Apple hasn't done. Apple's never been one to try and push first. They've always just been making sure that whatever they push is great and exceptional and lives up to their standards. And that's pretty much what they've done throughout. So, their little scandals like Bendgate and Glassgate and AntennaGate and all that type of stuff, they come out with a solution and the phone still works. So.
Okay.
All right. And they're now on stage, we're informed. So
yep, Tim's on stage.
Right. Okay.
And they're going to go through the first 15 to 20 minutes. They're going to sit there and puff out their chest. They're going to talk about their numbers. They're talking about the new Steve Theater because of the new app. I'd like to go into a theater. That theater actually looks really neat.
Good gracious. Okay.
So,
we are 4 minutes past time, and I'm about to have a coughing fit.
Yeah. I think,
Mischelle,
right.
It will be available. I don't know if I'm giving anybody a blow. It'll be available after. And on that note,
on that note, we say thank you to David Warren for joining us, because it's always brilliant when we all get together. To everybody who's watched, I say thank you. And shall I sign out or yourself?
Yeah, you go ahead, because I don't know if I'll make it through.
Right, okay, fine. From Tina and myself, we'd like to say thank you for watching us this week. We'll be back next week. We might be talking about repurposing. We might be talking about the Apple show. We might be talking about pop-in, but we'll certainly be back. We'll be joining you and talking about things that interest everybody. So take care, have a good week, and we'll see you later.
Bye.
And we are out of here.